Police say controversial rap star Tupac Shakur was entering an 8th floor recording studio when 3 robbers confronted him and his friends.
They ordered him to the floor. He was shot numerous times.
He got another one. These up for grabs, though. Come get these. Yeah. And when you come get these, we can talk about the last one.
It was these fools from New York, this gang out there called A-Team.
They said they wanted my group, but I think they kind of rubbed me out, really.
Doctor's affidavit showing entry wounds in the back of the skull and 2 exit wounds in the front of the skull. That was a clear murder attempt.
Tupac was shot 5 times in 1994 while entering a recording studio in New York in what was ruled as an attempted robbery. The incident had occurred the day before Tupac had received a verdict of a 4.5-year prison sentence in a case which may have been set up by an FBI asset. The shooting which took place had been connected to Tupac exposing this aspect on a live news broadcast which happened just a day before the shooting. The incident had major connections to both US intelligence and New York's criminal underworld. The shooting led into sparking what was labelled as the East Coast-West Coast War, which led to the 2 historic unsolved deaths of both Biggie and Tupac. In this video, we're going to take a look into the event and the ties into US intelligence along with New York's criminal underworld.
It was these fools from New York, this gang out there called A-Team. These fools was mad because I told them I wasn't with them no more.
The criminal underworld element involved in the incident stemmed from a gang in New York called the A-Team. The A-Team had formed in the 1980s in the Cypress Hills projects of Brooklyn. A prominent member of the gang was Walter King Tut Johnson. King Tut had grown up in the Cypress Hills projects and turned to a life of crime at the age of 16. He became a stick-up kid, being arrested for robbery numerous times as a youth, with his police records revealing the alias of King Tut. King Tut had formed a robbery ring of local Brooklyn youths, which was originally called the Black Mafia, which later became the A-Team. A guy by the name of Haitian Jack was recruited into the group, which began to specifically target drug dealers. Haitian Jack had immigrated into the United States, where he grew up in Brooklyn, joining up with King Tut, who became career criminals, being in the crime of robbery. King Tut and members of the robbery group went to his mother's church on June 23, 1982, where they had held upward of 300 worshippers up at gunpoint to rob them. Tut was convicted to 6 years in prison for the robbery, being released in 1988. Tut, soon after being released from prison, was once again convicted, this time of criminal possession of a weapon, being sentenced to 4 to 8 years in prison, being released by 1993. King Tut, after being released, allegedly muscled up on Harlem record executive Puff Daddy to get a role in his record company called Bad Boy Records, which was formed in 93. Haitian Jack became acquainted with Biggie Smalls, who was a young rapper from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, who had signed to Puff Daddy's record label Bad Boy. King Tut, Haitian Jack, and a man called Jimmy Henchman then allegedly began to extort Puffy for money. Jimmy Henchman is an American entertainment record executive and convicted drug trafficker who is currently serving a life sentence for allegedly ordering the murder of a 50 Cent affiliate called Lodi Mac. Members of Jimmy Henchman's entertainment company, along with Henchman himself, have been revealed as to have been working as informants for the FBI.
Haitian music promoter Jacques Ignan, it was eventually found out that he had a miles-long rap sheet of charges up and down the East Coast, according to Tupac's New York trial lawyer Michael Warren, who got that rap sheet, and all the charges were dismissed, and Michael Warren said that's a sure sign of a police intelligence agent.
Jimmy Henchman ran an entertainment company called Caesar Entertainment, where he managed several artists, with some of these including Little Sean and Pras Michel. Pras was the lead rapper of the highly successful group The Fugees. NYDailyNews.com released paperwork which claimed that Jimmy Henchman had been working as a federal informant with the FBI, being since the 1990s. Pras, being the artist who he managed, who was affiliated with The Fugees, had also been revealed as being an informant for the FBI. Pras Michel has recently been found guilty on 10 counts of criminal conspiracy of working on Obama's 2012 presidential campaign through Malaysian business mogul Jay Ho Lau by embezzling over $4.5 billion, being from the Malaysian government, to fund Barack Obama's 2012 re-election campaign, with at least $21 million of the money being used in the campaign. The investigation revealed how, like his manager Jimmy Henchman, Pras was also an FBI informant. Jimmy Henchman of Caesar Entertainment and the artist who he managed, being Pras of The Fugees, were both simultaneously confidential informants for the FBI, giving them information on people within the industry. Henchman and Haitian Jack, along with King Tut, were allegedly extorting Puff Daddy for money, with there also being information which indicates Haitian Jack to have also been an FBI informant.
The East Coast drug dealers got them as extortion. I came and fucked up everything.
John Potash, who wrote the FBI's War on Tupac, revealed how lawyer Michael Warren received Haitian Jack's arrest records, which showed a long list of charges brought against him, with all of the cases being dismissed. Warren claimed this was indicative of Haitian Jack being a confidential informant when many crimes are committed but no jail time is ever given.
If you get a guy that constantly getting in trouble and never gonna come to prison, that's because he's an informant, he's a rat, a snitch.
It was also revealed how Haitian Jack would be given separate trials to his co-defendants, with his cases being dismissed while his co-defendants would be charged. Author Ori Spado, who Haitian Jack had lived with, revealed how he had found out that Haitian Jack had been an FBI informant for a long time.
He was an informant for the FBI for a long time.
John Potash, who wrote the FBI's War on Tupac, believes that the criminal underworld's federal informants were used to get at Tupac Shakur being in their counterintelligence program, which had been being ran against his Black Panther Party family. COINTELPRO was the FBI's counterintelligence program, which was being used against the Black Panther Party being in the 60s and 70s. The Black Panthers were a Black Power political movement which was founded in 1966. The FBI had used their illegal and covert counterintelligence program against them, which included driving the East Coast Panthers against the West Coast through fabricated letters and false reports in the media. Tupac's mother and close relatives were members of the Black Panther Party, who the FBI used COINTELPRO against to have them falsely imprisoned as a way of breaking up the party. John Potash believes that the FBI had been using their informants to target Tupac, just like how they had been targeting his family in the past.
Police say the 22-year-old rapper allegedly held down the 20-year-old victim at the Parker Meridian Hotel in Midtown Manhattan.
I look guilty.
Tupac met Haitian Jack between October and November of 1993. While he was in New York filming for the movie Above the Rim. Tupac began to base the character he was playing called Birdie off of Haitian Jack. Tupac and Biggie were friends during this time and would hang out together in New York, with Biggie warning Tupac about Haitian Jack. Mike Tyson, who was in prison at the time, during a phone call with Tupac, had also warned him about hanging around with Haitian Jack. Haitian Jack and Tupac began to go to nightclubs together, and Jack gave Tupac a Rolex, which had most likely have been stolen. Haitian Jack was trying to get Tupac to sign to Bad Boy Records, with Jimmy Henchman attempting to get him to sign with his entertainment company so he could then become his manager. Tupac refused their requests, but continued to hang out with Haitian Jack. Haitian Jack and Tupac went to the exclusive Manhattan nightclub called Nell's on November 14th, 1993, where Haitian Jack introduced Tupac to Ayanna Jackson. Tupac and the girl went back to his hotel room at the Manhattan Parker Meridian, where they had spent the night together. Tupac had given her the number to his pager and had told her to keep in touch with him. Ayanna Jackson had returned to his hotel room a few days later, where Tupac was with Haitian Jack and his road manager Charles Fuller, along with a fourth unidentified man who was connected to Haitian Jack. Tupac claims the worst mistake he made on the night was going to sleep and leaving the group together in the hotel room, as he claimed to have left them in the foyer area of the room while he slept in the ensuite.
I saw her again another time with these guys that introduced me to her. I was having a good time. Went to sleep, woke up. Next thing I know, I'm going to jail.
Is there anything that you would do differently?
Yeah.
What?
I would not have closed my eyes until she was out of the room. Until everybody was out of the room.
Ayanna Jackson had left the hotel and firstly called her lawyer to build a case against the men, which she then followed up with by calling the police.
She called her lawyer right after she left my hotel. Before she called the police, she called the civil suit.
Tupac and Haitian Jack, along with Charles Fuller, were arrested based on the claims made against them by Ayanna Jackson. The police had also found 2 illegal firearms in the hotel room, but neither of them had Tupac's fingerprints on them. The trial began in 1994, with Haitian Jack getting a separate trial. Haitian Jack's lawyer, Paul Brenner, had Jack's case severed from Tupac's, given Haitian Jack a separate trial from the case, where once again, charges had been lowered to probation, while the unidentified man who was connected to him was not even apprehended. Tupac was with actor Mickey Rourke in a nightclub in November of 1994, where he had told Rourke's friend, who was a New York Daily News reporter by the name of AJ Benza, that Mike Tyson had warned him about Haitian Jack, and Alpaca believed that Haitian Jack, along with Jimmy Henchman, had used the girl against him to set him up, which was then reported in the paper.
I dissed them in the Daily News. They put a hit out on me.
Tupac has spoken on both the intelligence aspect and the criminal aspect, with some believing the criminals had set him up to extort him after they were unable to get him to sign to Bad Boy, with Mike Tyson warning him, as Tyson had a similar case against him, being with a 4-year prison sentence, which had some of the same circle of people involved.
They know what goes on in this man. Michael Tyson and all that shit. You know, they know what goes on.
The accuser also sued Tupac for $10 million, where a settlement was reached.
She can make millions if she do it right. If she gets some guys and they all plan it, and that's exactly what they did.
Others believe that US intelligence had set him up by using the confidential informants due to the influence and pull he had over society.
I called his New York trial lawyer, Michael Warren, and said, do you think that the FBI and police intelligence are targeting Tupac like they targeted his Black Panther parents? And he said yes, and no one's writing about it.
The day before Tupac caught the case through Haitian Jack, he had formed a meeting with gangs where he was organizing a peace treaty to form a group which was based around his so-called thug life ideology, which stood for the hate you give little infants F's everybody. This was a group he was forming to make better changes in society through the funding of the community to create opportunities for the youth. Tupac was making calls from the hotel which he caught the case in, setting up meetings with gang members on the street, calling for a peace treaty to begin a new party based on thug life.
I came to this meeting to pull that agreement together, and the next day they have him set up on this. Part of his case was that there were tapes on the telephone of what he was trying to do in the hotel, and the cops got the tapes. And Michael Warren was trying to use the tapes as evidence.
The police had received the tapes of the phone calls which were presented in the court case. The tapes had revealed that Tupac was also making calls from the hotel to his Black Panther Party connections in prison to form a new party for his thug life movement. Tupac, while outside a courthouse on November 29th, 1994, spoke on a live TV broadcast on how Haitian Jack had a different trial in the case, indicating that he was a snitch.
Where are those people that did this? They were all in the same hotel as me. They were all right in the same room with me. Why am I the only one in court right now?
The day after the broadcast, Tupac was shot 5 times.
Tupac Shakur is in a hospital recovering from serious gunshot wounds. Police say Shakur was the victim of a robbery.
Tupac on November 30th, 1994, had been invited to Quad Recording Studio in Manhattan by Jimmy Henchman, offering Tupac $7,000 to record a feature verse with rapper Little Sean, who Henchman was managing. Jimmy Henchman was in the studio with Puff Daddy, who was overseeing Biggie's recording session with his group Junior Mafia. Junior Mafia member Lil Cease was looking out the top floor window and saw Tupac approaching, telling him to come up. Tupac entered the building with Randy Stretch Walker, who was associated to the A-Team gang, along with Charles Fuller, who was implicated in the Haitian Jack case. King Tut and another man called Dexter Isaac approached Tupac dressed in camo fatigues, where they pulled out guns on him, then shot 5 times after Tupac had reached for his weapon. They also robbed Tupac, removing $40,000 worth of jewelry. Fake footage coming from a TV show has been released online, which claims to be real footage for clickbait purposes. Tupac had been in an elevator after being shot and rode up to the floor that Puffy and Biggie had been in, where Puck claimed that they looked like they had seen a ghost. News footage shows Biggie and Puffy leaving the building after the incident took place. The police, who were the arresting officers for the Haitian Jack case in 1993, were also the first responders on the scene of the robbery. John Potash believes this is indicative of how the event had elements of a US intelligence setup by using the confidential informants.
When Tupac Shakur was shot in the New York recording studio lobby, they said another strange twist in the Tupac case. The same officers that first arrived at the alleged scene a year earlier were the first to arrive at his shooting.
Tupac was taken to hospital, having an iconic photo of him flipping a bird while being stretchered into an ambulance. He admitted himself out of the hospital the next day, where he appeared in court in a wheelchair, to receive the verdict for his case with Haitian Jack. Tupac received a guilty verdict of 4.5 years in prison for the case. Tupac recovered at actress Jasmine Guy's house while waiting to be imprisoned, where Stretch began relaying messages from Jimmy Henchman to him, telling him not to go to war until he had his money right. Tupac had also believed that Stretch had set him up in a robbery incident.
The reason I knew my homeboys set me up is because my homeboys knew I was strapped. And they didn't do nothing. They knew I was strapped.
Tupac was sentenced in February of 1995, where he was sent to Rikers Island before being transferred to Clinton Correctional Facility in New York. He began writing letters which had the names of Haitian Jack, Jimmy Henchman and King Tut crossed out, symbolizing a hit list.
The girl that did this, she hooked up with the dudes, put out the pistols to me, that shot me. It was a big plan. I just caught it like at the end, and that's why they shot me.
Tupac began receiving anonymous letters telling him that Biggie had him set up, with strangers also telling him the same information.
While I'm in jail, strangers is telling me, Biggie homeboy shot you.
John Potash has claimed he believes this could have been a US intelligence strategy, as the same methods were used against the Black Panthers by the FBI in their counterintelligence program, which started an East Coast-West Coast rift within the party.
They set up that East Coast versus West Coast rap rivalry. People around Tupac started telling him, don't believe this. This probably isn't true. We don't think that Biggie really set you up. But so many people were telling him, don't you know Biggie set you up? He was getting letters. They just didn't realize how much U.S. intelligence put into targeting Tupac.
Others believe it was fellow criminals of the New York underworld who informed Tupac on how Jimmy Henchman was with Puffy while in a recording studio when he was set up. Tupac had been released on an appeal after 8 months in prison after West Coast record executive Suge Knight had money put up for a $1.4 million bond, which he had used from his distributors at Interscope Records to have Tupac released and signed to Death Row Records.
Pac ended up going to New York and he ended up getting shot up. I said to my bulletproof vest with the Death Row logo on the back, I said, don't get scared now.
Tupac, after joining Death Row Records, vented his frustration towards the East Coast, which was now heightened due to Suge Knight also having animosity towards Puffy. While Tupac was in prison, Suge Knight attended the 1995 Source Awards in New York, and while accepting an award, he gave a shout out to Tupac, then went on to diss Puff Daddy, hinting that Biggie should sign to Death Row.
Any artist out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star and won't have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the video, all on the record, dancing, come to Death Row.
What I said at the Source Award was true. I never had a problem with Biggie. In reality, my plan was to bring him to Death Row.
Suge Knight's Blood Gang member close friend Jake Robles was shot and killed in September of 1995, being by Puff Daddy's security while at an after party for Jermaine Dupri. Kirk Burroughs, being the former president of Bad Boy Records, claimed that Puffy had sanctioned the hit of Jake Robles.
Jake had words with somebody, and then all of a sudden, they kick everybody outside the club, and I think Jake's thing was more of a setup job.
Puff Daddy had aligned himself with the Southside Compton Crips, being through New York drug trafficker Eric Zip Martin, who had introduced him to a Southside Compton Crip shot caller called Keefy D. The Southside Compton Crips were the enemies of the Compton Bloods, who Suge Knight was affiliated with. Tupac and Suge Knight, while at a Death Row Records Christmas party in December of 1995, locked a Bad Boy associated record producer by the name of Mark Anthony Bell inside a room, where he was beaten with champagne bottles and allegedly forced to drink urine while attempting with getting the addresses of Puffy's family in Los Angeles. Biggie Smalls' wife Faith Evans and Puff Daddy's baby mother Misa Houghton both allegedly had affairs with Tupac and Suge Knight, with Tupac allegedly taking Faith Evans back to his hotel room after recording the 1996 song Wonder Why They Call You Bitch. Tupac's former girlfriend Desiree Smith, who had stayed friends with him, claimed that when she visited Tupac in prison, he had told her of his plans to sleep with Faith Evans. Tupac then recorded the infamous diss track called Hit 'Em Up, which was aimed towards Biggie and Puffy, where he claimed to have slept with Biggie's wife. Keefy D had claimed in a secretly recorded police confession carried out by LAPD cop Greg Caden that Puffy had allegedly put out $1 million bounty on Tupac and Suge Knight to the Southside Crips, being in the summer of 1996, during a meeting in the Greenblatt Deli in Los Angeles.
When he told me the greenback, we were on $1 million. We'll wipe their ass out quick, you know, it's nothing.
Tupac and Suge Knight were shot at 13 times while traveling in Las Vegas, which occurred hours after beating down Keefy D's nephew Orlando Anderson, who was also a Southside Crip. Keefe D claimed that Orlando Anderson had carried out the shooting and that they were called by Puffy afterwards to ask if it was them who carried it out. Keefe D claimed he was then informed that he would receive the $1 million through Eric Zip Martin. Puffy's bodyguard Eugene Dill claimed he saw the $1 million check, which was given to Jimmy Henchman, disguised as a check to Black Round Records, which was owned by Aaliyah's uncle.
Zip had a check in his right back pocket, and that check was for $1 million. Jimmy Henchman got him the check for Black Ground Records. Follow the paper.
Jimmy Henchman allegedly gave the check to Eric Zip Martin with the intention of it going to the Southside Crips, with FBI documents claiming that Zip instead kept the money and bought a nightclub which he'd called the Zip Code.
Who gave Zip the money? Zip kept the money from himself.
Keefe D then tried to set up Zip by wearing a wire, but Zip grew aware of the setup and avoided it. Some believe the Southside Compton Crips did not carry out the shooting and look into the Russell Poole theory, which puts forth evidence of crooked LAPD Rampart cops and elements of US intelligence allegedly being involved in the murder.
I believe that the FBI conspired to orchestrate the murder of Tupac Shakur. The U.S. intelligence orchestrated Tupac Shakur's assassination.
John Potash believes Rampart cops aligned with the CIA and the FBI murdered Tupac Shakur, which was then covered up by the information provided by the confidential informants, putting forward an East Coast West Coast smokescreen to hide it. Undercover FBI asset Kevin Hackey, who had infiltrated Death Row Records by posing as a bodyguard, claimed the FBI were tailing Tupac and Suge Knight's car and have surveillance footage of the shooting taking place.
According to Hackey, FBI agents and ATN agents were in cars just behind Tupac on the night he was shot.
Somebody who was working for the FBI, Kevin Hackey, said he had the documents to prove that the FBI had Tupac under surveillance when he was killed.
Tupac had a second diss track released 2 months after his death called Against All Odds, where he addressed Jimmy Henchman, Haitian Jack, King Tut and Puffy. In regards to Haitian Jack, he says, quote, "Knew he was working for the feds, same crime, different trials," unquote. In regards to Jimmy Henchman, he says, quote, "Promised to pay back Jimmy Henchman in due time," unquote. In regards to King Tut, he said, quote, "Here we come, gunshots to Tut, now you stuck," unquote. In regards to Puffy, he says, "Puffy getting robbed like a bitch. To hide that fact, he done some shit he shouldn't have did, so we riding for that," unquote. He also said he would probably be murdered for what he said in the track, with it being released 2 months after he was murdered. Biggie Smalls was murdered while visiting Los Angeles in a similar drive-by shooting, which took place just 6 months after Tupac's. 2 main theories were put forward, with one being that it was a Blood gang member who was affiliated with Suge Knight called Wardell Faust, and another claiming that it was crooked LAPD Rampart cops who are associated with the security of Death Row Records. In this video, we took a look into the 1994 robbery of Tupac Shakur. The moment was a historic event in a sequence of events which led to the unsolved murders of Tupac and Biggie. It had connections to US intelligence through confidential informants, along with the criminal underworld of New York. Let me know what your thoughts are on all this in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, smash the thumbs up button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and press that bell button so you can get all the future notifications for when I upload. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.